sponsored by Shop G&O for the following season, everybody. Make sure you're checking out their brand new website launching on the 5th of May. If you sign up and become part of the members club, it's a £25 membership club, absolutely free, everybody. You can only get it through one Leeds. Competitive rates across the site as well. Better than Amazon, Vinted, and eBay. Make sure you check out Shop G&O. It is an e-commerce site which is tailored for all of your needs. Also, everybody, we are sponsored by Job Match Group. Talking about tailoring, make sure you check out this. It's got very specific job needs tailored to all of your every single needs. Make sure you check it out, everybody. Launching on the 6th of May. Well worth it. Finally, we're sponsored by the lads at Match Bingo. £2 per card, £5 for the price of 4. Get involved every match day, everybody. The QR code is in the corner. And let's get into the show, shall we? Good morning, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds, and of course, you're here for the Rumour Mill. What's going on in your world? Let me know in the comment section below. We are sponsored by Shop G&O. We are sponsored by the Job Match Group and the lads at Match Bingo. Guys, especially, I've mentioned this several times, but the Job Match Group and G&O are flying at this moment in time. If you sign up, especially to Shop G&O, where you can list your own shop for less than you could on Amazon, Vinted, and eBay, you will get special perks with the One Leeds affiliate link, everybody. We've got big things coming. We've got a promotion booklet. There's only 5, I think, or 10 exclusively in this link. If you click the link, you'll become part of the raffle, of which one of you will get picked. And the booklets are absolutely special. The commemorative, get involved, everybody. Absolutely free. Free 25 quid membership. Get involved with the lads there as well. What's going on anyway? Are you happy? Are you sad? Hopefully you're all right. Hopefully it's sunny where you are. Where I am in Manchester, it is absolutely drowning. It is belting it down yet again. Yet again, I am a sodden rat. What's going on, though, everybody? No, Dave, you'll know all about this, mate. Been in sunny Rochdale, I believe you're in, aren't you, mate? Good morning, Super Leeds fans. Hello, morning. It's when you see the Aussies in here, I just get a little bit upset. RB says, Gymshark sponsor. Should I send him an email? If any of you Gymsharkers want to just give me, what's his name? Is it Mark Francis or something like that? You know, that guy. Let me know, and I'll get in contact with him. Morning, Connor. Catch you live. Hope you're well. Matt will be appearing on the Patreon very, very soon. Shout out to you, my friend. Loft says, morning, Con lads. If we need Hamer, he needs to join Weight Watchers. Footy with Lucas says, should I be on profile counter for today? You can be Footy. It might put me off, Lucas, mate. It might put me off, but you can do. Zombie Boy says, love the content, Connor. Your knowledge of the players in Europe is fantastic. Also, really look forward to it in the mornings. That's great, mate. Thank you so much. I'm happy you're enjoying this every morning. It's not just about us talking about rumours. We have a bit of a laugh together, don't we? And that's what the One Leeds community is all about, as Nick's taking the mick out of me here as well. Connor, when you get here. Morning, mate. How's it going? Morning, Haz. How's it going, everybody? I hope you've got your Dublin tickets as well, everybody. Your Leeds United facing up against AC Milan. Shout out to a lot of you. Shout out to Jamie, who I know got in the DMs, and there's loads of you as well who've sent me messages about how to get to Dublin. I know how to get to Dublin, everybody. It's just, how do I get there without spending billions of my non-money that I have at the minute? So yeah, and listen, yeah, no, I appreciate all of it, to be honest with you. I think we might have found a route out of Liverpool. We might have found a route because obviously the connection there is pretty nice, but maybe Belfast to Dublin. Who knows? Maybe boat. Maybe a boat will get over there. Who knows? We'll do something. Holyhead, there's options. Kirsch says, morning, Dublin booked. Hotel for one night and flights. Never been before, Kirsch. That'll be good, mate. That'll be good. It's a cracking place, Dublin. It's just very expensive. I think it was voted top 5. I think it was because I love a city break, and was looking at city breaks this year, or last year, I think it was, and managed to get to Seville last year. And I was looking at the pricing of Seville. And then third on the list of the most expensive cities in Europe, third was Dublin. I was like, wow. And then I ended up going to Dublin, I think, twice last year. Shout out to only Leeds bros and Jura as well. I was supposed to meet out there as well. So, yeah, mental. Haz says, morning, Connor from the mighty town of Harrogate. Harry, I need to see a lot of the Harrogate whites, to be honest, mate, because anytime I'm up there, I get a few people coming up to me, which is always nice. Morning, Connor. Nice to catch you live again. No to Hamer and no to Philip. Shout out to Denise. Yeah, good to see you in here, Denise. Morning from Cyprus. Hello, everybody. Clark's in here. Clark's still the best name in the chat. Sorry, that or Ronnie Kipperin. Shout out to you. Johnny's in the building as well. A lot of the regulars are here. Blinky, Gaz, Louis as well. Greeny's here as well. And Loaf and Kyle and Bassett. Sorry, I'm trying to say hello to all of you. Go for a hostel in Dublin. Loads cheaper. Yeah, it just depends. Look, guys, I'm nearly 32. Do you know what I mean? I'm nearly 32. The days of me being in hostels when I'm 21 years old. And do you know when they all come in at like 4 in the morning? Do you know what I mean? 4 in the morning. And McGilligan's trying to have a bit of a kip. And they're screaming and shouting with all the youthfulness. I'm just not sure I can deal with it. Good morning from Bridlington tonight, mate. Okay, let's get into the chat today. So, look, I wanted to speak about this guy again. I'm not going to, rehash old news. More coming out today. TBR, a fair few other sources. I think Ben Jacobs has said it as well this morning, who can be a little bit on and off. But a few sources now are going a little bit harder on Gustavo Hamer, which I find quite interesting. It feels like it's gaining a little bit of momentum. And I keep mentioning this. I mentioned this yesterday. I mentioned the fact that when it comes to, obviously, Leeds been interested in him for 2 years now, even when he was at Coventry. I don't see this one going away. I don't think Leeds have just drastically thought to themselves that he couldn't work in the Premier League, because I think that was always the long-term aim with signing Gus Hamer. I think on top of that as well, there is a player there of which Leeds feel that they could siphon into the squad and make into a player maybe with better players around him. So I think the interesting thing is I'm seeing sort of a lot of conversation about how much would he be worth and what's the overpaying structure. And some people are disagreeing with me. Some people are agreeing with me. I want to put a few things to you, which is going to be different to the video that we did yesterday, because it's going to be talking about maybe a reasonable fee for Gus Hamer. We know Leeds offered 13 million quid for him. In and around, I believe it was January, wasn't it? Or was it summer? I can't quite remember. It's been a long one, guys. You guys let me know in the chat. But it was summer, wasn't it? I think for Gus Hamer. But I think when you're looking at the range, we've got to be careful. And I think how I've mentioned it, how I've said where we shouldn't and we should pay is spot on. Pat myself on the back. Now, I'm going to give you the reasons behind this and why we shouldn't. I've seen stuff online from Sheffield United fans saying you should be paying 30 million. No way in a month of Sundays. Does that make logistical sense? Does it make financial sense? And does it make any just general sense? Leeds United should not be paying more than 15 million quid for Gustavo Hamer. They brought him in for 15 million quid. They'd make that money back. It looked good against the books as well. And for me, Sheffield United right now, and I think they'll do well next season, but they are a championship club for a second season. Now, what does that mean? And what did this mean with Leeds United? It meant that we had financial strain, limited revenue, and a lesser of parachute payments going into the season that we're about to go into. Obviously, you get the most in the first year. So they're motivated sellers. That's what Sheffield United are right now, particularly ahead of the 30th of June deadline, of which is where the accounting bracket gets to, of which they realistically, on the 30th of June, have to make a big sale. They have to make a big sale realistically, like we did, and we all know what we're talking about there. But we had to make a big sale by the 30th of June last summer. They have to do the exact same thing. So when you're looking at their priced assets, they will not want to let Michael Cooper go. And I think that makes sense. He's just signed a deal. I think it's 3-4 years on his deal. They won't want to let him go. Keep an eye on that one though, because there'll be definitely some clubs, maybe even us, looking and sniffing around him with how good he's been. And Ahmed Hodzic, I've never been convinced on him. I'll be honest with you. I think he's good. I think he is a little bit overhyped, though. To be honest with you, that's just my personal opinion of the games that I've seen this season and the games that I saw of him previously as well. I think he's okay, but he's not an asset that I'd be going after whatsoever. And then you kind of look at, obviously, their just picture of the squad right now. Harrison Burrows wouldn't be the one for me either. So I think there's a couple in there of which you can look at. Vinny Souza is one who I'd definitely look at if we had the capabilities to do that. But I think Vinny Souza will go higher than Leeds United. I think just is, once again, here's one for you, Lucas. profile, fits into many, many clubs in the Premier League. And I think he will go to maybe a Fulham, a Palace or something like that. But I think Gustavo Hamer makes a lot of sense for Leeds United. Now, he's got 2 years left on his deal. 2 years left on his deal, which means there's not long enough for them to get top dollar. You know, next year he's got 1 year left on his deal and he's 29 years of age. In a year, that leverage drops massively. Hugely, and they've got a really tough task next season as well of getting promoted. Look, if they don't get promoted, they're going to lose him for a really, really cut fee. So people at Sheffield United will be thinking that as well. They paid 15 million quid for him. And the market value depends on the current demand as well, always in football. And when you've got Everton, who've kind of got a minor interest, I think, from what the reports are, they're kind of looking at him. But there's Leeds, which has been a 3-year interest. There's not a mass amount of interest in Gustavo Hamer, but what there is another Premier League club looking at him, which for me just instigates his quality. And we know his Premier League desire and him wanting to play up there. He's been quoted in saying that previously. And I wonder if just the mate side of things with Ampadu and Bogle could give us a little bit of a start there. But the buyer leverage is absolutely huge with this. Huge. And I think Leeds are in a really strong position. You know, newly promoted, better finances, appeal and squad, in my opinion. I think we had a better squad than Sheffield United this season as well. Farke will be looking to build a Premier League squad, and Hamer will definitely fit into that in that cam role. And he can play on the left as well if you need him out there as well. And I think Leeds could offer a structured deal, which definitely is attractive on our cash flow basis. So I think the big X of Leeds United, I think 20 million quid for Gustavo Hamer is overpaying. I think it is overpaying. Jason says Souza's 38 games, no goals, 2 assists. Jace, but he's a defensive midfielder, mate. He's a bit of a sweeper in the midfield. It's not that, you know, it's like talking about Tanaka. It's like talking about Rothwell. It's like talking about Ampadu. You know, Ampadu's not going to get on the score sheet. It's probably more Ampadu, to be honest, when you're looking at him. So yeah, I think you've got to keep an eye on it. I think there's a lot of things that go in Leeds United's favour with it. I think there's a lot of things that go in our favour with it. And I think I would personally say that this season, I mentioned this last night, and Kershaw and all the regulars will have seen this last night, and obviously Jay Racer and stuff like that. All of you guys will have seen it last night when I was doing the room mill, all the regulars. You'll have heard me saying at points this season, I've not had him in a combined 11. I don't think he's been the best player in the Championship. That's my opinion. I don't think he has. I think you can look at Dan James. I think you can look at James Trafford. I think you could look at Esteve, CJ Egan-Riley. I think you could even look at, Manor Solomon. I think there's been players in this Leeds United side who probably should have got player of the season, stats-wise as well, ahead of Gustavo Hamer. I've not had him in a combined 11 with Leeds and Sheffield United. I haven't. Because I think at that point, you're kind of looking at it and thinking Solomon on that left-hand side when he's been performing has been impressive. I've always tried to root Gustavo Hamer in that central attacking midfield spot. But overall, are you asking me if I like Gustavo Hamer? I do like Hamer. I've always liked Hamer. I was buzzing when we were maybe about to sign him last year, and they reeled me in. So yeah, no, there's a lot of quality there. I think he can do it at the Premier League as well. He's already got 10 goal contributions with that horrendous Sheffield United side in the Premier League, who's conceded 104 goals. And I think you've got to look at that, and he was one of the outstanding performers. Look, and it's different positions, but you look at Matías Fernandez in this year in the Premier League, we've spoken about him multiple times. He didn't get near Hamer's numbers. And obviously it's very different, but it's someone who's a bit of a creator, an innovator as well, who can play in the 8, maybe the 10. When you look at Matías Fernandez, and obviously he's got 7 years on Gustavo Hamer, but it's then what do you want? What do you want? Do you want experience or do you not want experience? Because there's people in the chat who I don't think they know what they want, because there's not going to be the perfect signing. We can just try and get as close to perfect as we can. Bassett says, I like Vinny Souza, but I think we need more Premier League experience in our midfield. Kirsch says, TalkSport said we're looking after Hamer and Buendia. Would we go for both? I'll have a look. I'll have a look at that in a sec, mate. People talking about hotels in Dublin. I feel like Hamer would be loved at Ellen Road. I agree with you, mate. I agree. I think he'd fit in the Hamer mill. Love it. We're not going to get him. This always happens, mate. It always happens in my life where we do these things and we just follow it and follow it and follow it, and it ends up just not happening. Hey, Connor lad, you don't look a day over 30. Harvey. Oh my God. Oh, Greeny. God. Oh my God, mate! You're making me blush. You're making me blush. The Dutch connection, 100%. Yeah, also with Peru and Strout there as well. Good morning from the Irish guy in Atlanta, USA. Hello, John. Good to see you over there. If you're getting over to Dublin, mate. Chris says Hamer for me is a brilliant Championship player and a very average Premier League player. Good enough as a bench option. But I don't want to spend 15 mil on a bench option. Chris, let me know then because there's a lot of you who are saying Premier League experience, right? A lot of you want Premier League experience. So a lot of you want proven in the Premier League as well. For me, I think Hamer ticks those two boxes. You want a good fee. Even though it's not our money, we know when working around PSI, we've got to look at that good money strategy as well. Good money, right? Which I think we'll be able to get for him. What other attributes are you kind of looking at here? Because I kind of see if Hamer is around some of the players that we're going to be speaking about in today's video, potentially they're going to get the best out of him. I mentioned this last night. Gustavo Hamer as a sort of, for Sheffield United, has been playing on the left. I'd have him centrally all day and twice on a Sunday. You'd be replacing Brendan Aronson. We'd have our wide options. And imagine the wide options that we've got, even if we bring Solomon back in. And we're going to get into what Leeds' lineup could look like at the end of the window in this video as well, with the rumours and all that sort of stuff. But Gus Hamer in around Solomon, Largi Ramazani, Nonto, Tanaka in behind, up front, maybe a very good striker as well, who we've been linked to this morning. That is very different at Premier League standard to be surrounded by Ollie McBurney, Ben Brereton Diaz, players of that ilk, of which I think Ollie Norwood was still playing there as well. With the greatest of respect, I think there's just a bit of a step up, a little bit of a level up when it comes to going to the Premier League, investing in proper quality in your side, because this isn't just about relegation and staying in the Premier League, of which I think 17th will be like a trophy, but it's then like evolving. And if you put in these players on long contracts, which I'm not saying Hamer would be, but other players in around on long contracts, there's a view there that Leeds United are going to be trying to get higher and higher and higher, as Parag said. So yeah, Tottenham City said seeing Buendia at Leeds would kill a bit of it. Mate, how long? Chris and Jack, I don't know who it is on there, mate, but how long have we spoken about this? How long have we spoken about this? My God, feels like Leeds and Buendia flipping heck. This has been going back genuinely, I think, about 5-6 years. And another one here, Neil. Another one. 5 or 6 years. Go Spectrus has finally catch a live at work, but I'll keep it on the lowdown. All I'm hoping is we keep away from the scum players. I like tainted goods. Yes, mate, 100%. But then you're kind of looking at it and thinking, maybe if they came our way, they'd improve. Like McTominay, Lukaku, all these sorts of players that leave Man United and do okay. Morning, Connor. Hope you're okay. Hi, Mira. Good to see you in here. Morning, mate. Buendia or Hamer. Certainly attainable targets who can fit in a Farker system. Aston Villa maybe looking to sell quickly to help PSR, and Sheffield United selling while he holds value. Bang on, James. Bang on. That's the thing as well, everybody. I keep mentioning this. By the 30th of June, Sheffield United will have had to make a big sale. They would have had to make a big sale, especially with what's going on right now in terms of them being in that second year. So something to bear in mind. But for me, 12 to 15 million quid. Avoid paying over 15 million quid or like 17 million quid. Nowhere near 20. But if you want to do near 20, maybe it'll just be installments and bonus related as well, of course. He'll have a relegation clause in there, Hamer, because I can't imagine he'd want to go back down again. But yeah, wait and see on that one. But I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Hamer. I am. Just he wouldn't have been Championship Player of the Year this year, because I think Leeds United player should have been in there, but that's my bias. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Oh, he's back again. Buendia's back. Tell a friend. There we go. He's back. Leeds United this morning have been reported that we have interest again in Emi Buendia from Argentina. Let me explain to you what's happening with Emi Buendia from Argentina. Injured a little bit this year, was on loan at Bayer Leverkusen. And Leeds have had an interest in this lad since I think he was 23 years old. 28 now. Got a bit of notches on the belt when it comes to experience. Market values in around 18 million quid. And his performances this season have been they've been okay, but he's had a fair few injuries this season as well, and Leverkusen have acted and they've said that they're not going to be taking a punt on him this season. Let's just have a quick look at his stats as well, so we can move these in here, so you guys can have just like a little brief look at this. So as you can see here, 11 appearances, goals per 90, 0.71 minutes played, 253 goals to 11 appearances. So it's not been unbelievable for Buendia this season, if we're being brutally honest with each other. And once again, he's got to that age in his career where I think his contract expires in 2027, very similar to that of Gustavo Hamer, in terms of obviously his contract's ending soon. Villa will want to get a decent market value for him. This, for me, makes a lot of sense right now. The big problem is injuries. The big problem is that consistency, because we're going to spend money on this man. And I know that this will come back to to not effectively. Oh, and I just want to say as well, everybody, shout out to Ethan Ampadu, who's just got into the Wales squad ahead of the June World Cup qualifiers. Shout out to Ethan. So yeah, look, we all know Emi Buendia is savage at his best, an incredible player at his best. The problem is he's been away from his best for a period of time now, and it's whether or not you can go and get that. Now, if we can compare Hamer and Buendia, similar, very, very similar in terms of how they play. Once again, innovators, very crisp passes, very good shot efficiency. But there's been a Leeds link with Buendia before, and I think that's why maybe Leeds fans favour that a little bit. You've had both be outstanding at championship level, of course, maybe a little bit interrupted for both at Premier League standard as well. You've had, obviously, Buendia play at a higher level when it comes to Aston Villa, obviously them acquiring him for 40 million quid. But I do think there has to be some considerations when it comes to Buendia. 2027, there can't be a mad fee spent on him. And that would probably be your marquee signing when it comes to a midfield perspective. Obviously recovered from an ACL injury, which sidelined him for the entire of the 23-24 season. He made a comeback with, obviously, Leverkusen this season, 11 appearances, 2 goals. So, yeah, performance-based add-ons maybe. But what we know with someone like Buendia is it's going to be ridiculously high wage consideration, recent injury problems, but you've got a Premier League experienced player there with a proven track record. So there's a lot to consider there, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But I'm interested about this one. Really, really interested. I know this is Chris now. No, mate, not Sargent. I know you get upset by me saying not Sargent, but not for me. I've never really been fully in on Josh Sargent, to be honest, mate. It's just, I like other strikers. Kirsch says we cannot deny Hamer has quality. Would even better in a Leeds side. That's kind of where I'm at, mate. You know, if you're at Leeds United and you dot Rafinha with better players, I can imagine Rafinha would be a better player for a better side. That's kind of where I'm at. I think. Kind of looking at Hamer and you know, if it had happened with Buendia as well, and kind of looking at these, but it did happen with Buendia, didn't it? But looking at these players and think, well, they've been part of a rubbish squad, so they're rubbish. I think that's a mad way to look at football recruitment. It's crazy for me, in my opinion. Leeds Old School says very skeptical because he doesn't even look like a good trainer. Always overweight, then gets injured. I don't know who you're talking about there, mate, but let me know. Connor, does Buendia like a drink like Hamer does? I don't know. The Talking Norwich City lads might be able to let me know in the comment section below. It's just a rumor, by the way. I've heard from 2 separate clubs about Hamer. Yeah, so no, he's not, mate. I'd have taken Buendia 2 years ago. No, I'm not sure he's a good option. I've been asked about this a couple of times as well, just moving quickly away from football a bit. I've had about 40 Instagram messages about this. I will not be playing in the cup, everybody. I think, well, there's a Creators Cup now, which is excellent for charity. And I'm going to get in contact and try and make a charitable donation as well. I do a lot of charity work by myself in terms of my family's been affected by bits and bats. So we do things behind the scenes as well when it comes to things that are close to our hearts. So stuff like this is very, very close to my heart as well. But I won't be playing in it. The reason behind it is I've mentioned it several times. My foot is just knackered. It's absolutely knackered. And I wouldn't be able to give any good account of myself being there, to be quite honest with you. So I'm not going to be there, but hopefully if they're all right with it, I'm more than happy to make a sizable donation, or, you know, sizable by my limits, which is probably about 15 quid, but no, do you know what I mean? I'm happy to make a donation, of course, and I will be encouraging the lads and all that sort of stuff and giving it a bit of promotion 100% because it's brilliant what they're doing. So if you can get there, buy tickets, go and watch the lads. I'm sure it'll be fantastic as well. Let's have a look. James says, I like Buendia, but we're not Leeds on Championship who will dominate and attach at will. I feel like we need players who can play in the 8 or advanced with strength and ball carrying skills, not luxuries. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, James. I think that's a really good point. You need certain attributes in this division and certain attributes where Leeds are going to be. We're not going to be high flying in the Premier League. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a tough arduous period, but you do need quality. You need quality. You need that X factor, and that's why I guess when you look at someone like Hamer, maybe in the 10 goal contributions in the 36 games he played, and maybe the misconception that he doesn't play games. You know, 43 games this season, 36 games in the Premier League as well. He does sometimes hobble off, but still he's starting these games, isn't he? So yeah, Mr. Buendia is a great pro. Miss him dearly. There you go. A little bit of insight there from the lads. Right, let's have a look at who else is on the on the rumor mill, shall we? Okay, so yeah, underwhelming. I have to be honest. Finn Azaz, yeah. 2028, there's rumours today linking Leeds United with Finn Azaz. Apparently, we are keen on him. Obviously, joined the club in 2024, January 2024. 45 appearances, 12 goals, and 11 assists. And his market value is 20 million quid. Obviously, that reflects in his contributions and potential. The pros of someone like Finn Azaz, he's young, dynamic as well. Nice to get an Irish lad in as well. Significant contributions in the Championship, but it is a high asking price. And I'm not sure, for me, I'm not sure he'd be able to transition into the Premier League and offer as much contribution. Could be wrong, but I do like Finn Azaz. I just wonder if Finn Azaz is maybe similar to Joel Peru in a sense of being almost one of the best in the Championship, but maybe not being able to bridge the gap. Could be completely wrong on that. I know he's been really decent for Borough this season. For me, with the asking price, you're probably paying a similar amount for Finn Azaz right now as you're paying, because of his contract, obviously. You're paying a very similar amount to potentially Hamer and Buendia, which I'm a little bit like, I'll be honest, in the Premier League, I'd probably take a lot of the players that we have now in the central attacking midfield place over Finn Azaz. Look, I get his energy, I get his endeavour, I get he's dynamic. In a transition, he can be good as well because he's got legs, he's a runner, which obviously I keep talking about. I just think there's better out there for the level that we're going to be talking about. And I don't think it's bad off the bench, maybe, but I'm not sure. Any news on outgoings, mate? Just Firpo at the minute, pal. Just Firpo. And obviously, when you're looking at Matteo Joseph as well, Betis, that's not going away. Jamie says, Finn Azaz, I'd rather have the winger from Plymouth who gave Bogle and Rodon trouble in the last game of the season. Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about. Azaz's pony. Connor, what is it like not talking about Ryan Kent this season? It's great, mate. Good to see you in here, Lee, as well. Not good enough for the Prem. A lot of you guys are not saying he's good enough. Not good enough. He's like Tom Cannon, decent Championship player. Always seems to get goals and assists, but I've never seen him have a good game. When I've seen him, I'd rather have Hayden Hackney. So, yeah, great ball knowledge there, John. And Lappers as well, saying something similar as well. Okay. There you go. Something it's all falling apart here at One Leeds HQ. So yeah, I think we're all kind of in agreement when it comes to him, which is I kind of expected a lot of you guys to say that. So that's another one. Kirsch says, do you think we'll sign players on the basis that they may hold on, let me read that, mate, just with a lack of tiredness in my brain. Do you think we will sign players on the basis they might be good for us if we go back down? It's not the Leeds way, is it, Kirsch? It's not the Leeds way. I think it's but there's an argument we made a mistake on that when we went up last time. I mean, we spent the amount of money that we spent, and look, when you look at Dan James now in particular, and we brought him, didn't we, in our second season? But some of the big money that we spent on players that didn't perform at Premier League level is quite startling. Rodrigo got us 14, 15 goals, didn't he, in the final furlong? But overall, for the value of Rodrigo, I don't know whether or not we got our money back. 30 million quid, 29 years of age, 4-year deal. I will never, ever get away from the fact that Ollie Watkins was available in the same window, and we could have got him if we went early, and we went for Rodrigo, and that was a mistake. Brendan Aronson for 30 million is, quite frankly, one of the worst deals the club's ever done, for the price that you pay and what you get back and the length of contract. Again, sounds brutal, but it is true. And then you look at obviously, as I said, DJ we paid 25 million, Man United's fourth highest ever sale. Obviously, Aronson 30 million quid, Rodrigo 30 million quid. So the reason I mention all these, mate, is because these are big transfer outlays. I think we only stopped paying off DJ last year from what I was told. So yeah, there's a lot to consider when it comes to it. So do you buy players who are going to come down to the Championship and perform, or do you buy players that you think are going to take us to that next level at the Premier League, which is kind of what I think we did when we went up last time. I think there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a plan A and a plan B, and you've got to think of maybe like when you look at Gus Hamer, as I keep mentioning, would he stay with Leeds in the Championship for a year? Probably. Would he do well in the Championship? Yeah, he would. He's done it however many times. So he'd come down if the worst was to happen. And I think it's a smart point from you, Kershaw. Do you kind of look at it and think, well, he'd acclimatise, stay with us for a year, and hopefully fire us back up again? But yeah, you've got to invest in the youth for me when it comes to that. So yeah, according to Graham Bailey, Fulham, Brentford. Yeah, no, I get that, Scott. Completely get that, mate. I do think that there is a Hamer link, though. I'd be stunned, especially with our interest anyway. But yeah, if there are those clubs, it just shows that, Hamer is a bit of a prized asset when it comes to it. Always seems to get goals and assists. I've never seen him have a good game. We've spoken about that, haven't we, mate? Okay, thank God we don't have Auto anymore. I know, mate. I know. Let's not go back to those dark, dark days. But the last guy that we're going to speak about today, and what I would like to say as well, is congratulations to Daniel Farke, who has won LMA Manager of the Year. As I always said throughout, everybody, I had my complaints about Daniel Farke. I've always been transparent about that, but I said it was on a meritocracy, and I never went on this in and out thing where he was very, very much testing me at that middle bracket. Very, very much testing me to the middle to end bracket. But yeah, there was always a grey area with him. If he was able to prove his worth as a manager and get us up and win us the league, which I think we should have done with that squad, which I believe is, I'll go out and say this, it's probably top 2 squads of all time in the Championship, in my opinion. Maybe Newcastle side just eclipses it. But I think quality-wise, that's what we had this season, thanks to the ownership. So Daniel Farke did a really, really good job this year in terms of hitting 100 points. So kudos to him, and he's got Leeds up as champions, 100%. But the standards of this club is so high right now that we'll be obviously judging him next season on his Premier League campaign. But I'm happy they've backed him. I'm happy they've come out and backed him. So we needed to get that sorted very, very early. They've not got rid of him. They've kept him, right? Back him, bring him the right players in that he needs for his system as well. But do I think he deserves LMA Manager of the Year? Yeah, I think so. There's definitely a conversation there, 100% a conversation there when it comes to him being Manager of the Year. I think there's others, when you apply a little bit of context, that have done unbelievable jobs this year when you once again you apply that context. But yeah, Farke's done a good job this year. He's done a good job. So yeah, let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Enzo Lafay is a much better option than Finn. He is, but he's signed permanently, hasn't he, for Sunderland? But yeah, I don't mind Lafay. I think there's better out there. Chris says, hey Chris, keeping Farke is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. It affects so much. I get it, mate. I get it. I understand it. Like I've said, mate, I've always tried to be very neutral with him. I try to be as balanced as I can, even though he frustrates me. But he's also given me sort of a lot of joy this season. So I try to play both sides in a sense as well, because I think there's a grey area when it comes to the manager. People get narked off at that I'm not just coming on here and berating and doing the old Arsenal fan TV thing. And you can get frustrated at players and managers throughout the season, and time moves on as well. You might have said something at one point, but then time happens, and I've always said it's based on a meritocracy, that if in those games like the Portsmouth, Luton, Swansea, etc., he wasn't performing, which I don't think as a manager he was performing, and he was making the wrong decisions, but then he sorted out towards the back end of the season. And once again, the big context there was Ilan Mele was still in Leeds United's goal in game week 39, which I think if that was sorted earlier and he took him out and didn't back him, we'd have broken the points record. So, but we got up, and it doesn't matter whatsoever. But obviously those big decisions are going to be spotlighted and highlighted, particularly in the Premier League, because you cannot delay like that, because you'll be adrift very, very quickly. Okay, let's have a look at some other bits that we want to speak about this morning, shall we? Okay, let's get on to the next one. No, not you. Right then. Anad Kalimuendo, Leeds United linked with him this morning. Kind of exciting, this one as well, because this one's kind of always been bubbling when it comes to Kalimuendo and Leeds. But this one's interesting. I've got down here 20 million quid in terms of a fee, and that's what I think we'd have to pay for him. Obviously, his market value is 20 million euros. Stad Ren, again, Our favourite club. So his contract is until 2027, which plays in our favour again when you're looking at Buendia, Hamer, and obviously Kalimuendo. Newcastle have shown interest very, very recently and are reportedly ready to pay a big fee. How that would work, I don't know, with Isak up front as well. I think they'd probably pay good money for Kalimuendo if Isak moved on, but obviously Callum Wilson is now not their second striker, so maybe they're looking at potentially bringing him in as a number two. Let's have a quick look at his stats this season, which have been, just outrageous, really. Obviously, he's been playing at the top level. There we go. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so for Stad Ren, these are his statistics. Oh, no, not that one. These are his statistics this season. 17 goals in 35 appearances, 5 assists, goals per 90, 0.59, 2,600 minutes per goal, 153. Yeah, this guy is a bit of a player. He is a bit of a player. There's considerations when you're looking at him as well. I think what's key to note is, would he fit into the Premier League? Could he? I always do this with all these players. Can they? Are they the profile? Shout out to you, Lucas. Are they the profile that can fit A, Leeds United, but B, can they fit into the Premier League as well? I love his runs, his movement in and behind the centre backs. You guys know that was a big thing for me when it comes to Matteo Joseph, and giving him a big tick. It was the movement behind him between the centre backs. I think that will be valuable against Premier League defences when it comes to Leeds United, and maybe benefit the central attacking midfielder with the movement that we maybe naturally don't see from Peru when it comes to that dynamic, explosive movement in the transition between the back line. He's got a very high shot conversion rate as well. When we have a look at his statistics there, it indicates clinical finishing. You know, no matter what league you're in, if you know where the goal is, you know where the goal is. It's that simple. A lot of his finishes as well, for me, when you look at Kalimuendo, obviously, because we've spoken about him now for probably a couple of years, head down shot, which is absolutely fantastic in football. If the ball comes to you, head down shot, you just know where that goal is. There's an instinct there. Work rate as well is another big tick when you look at Kalimuendo. For Stad Ren, his work rate off the ball is exceptional, and it really fits into a high intensity style. So I think this is why you'd probably see maybe Newcastle's under Eddie Howe with the midfield that they've got and the complement that they have in that area. You know, when it comes to your likes of Bruno Guimaraes, when you look at Joe Linton, when you look at, Murphy, when you look at, Tonali, it is just pressing consistently and winning the ball back high, which you saw with Liverpool in the cup final, of course. But Kalimuendo would fit something like that, and would he fit the Leeds United blueprint as well? He's a monster. He's an absolute monster. When you look at the goal return, if you're to bring in a player this year who in Ligue 1 has scored 17 goals, he's 23 years of age. And it obviously we spoke about him years ago as the product of the PSG Academy as well. Movement, goal prowess, knows where the goal is. It's got to be tick for the prices as well. 20 million euros. It's going to be interesting because apparently Lyon are looking at him as well. We know what's happening with Ryan Cherky there as well, in terms of him being one of their main guys. He's going to be sticking around. So yeah, a lot to consider. Rossi says, "Good morning, Connor. Kalimuendo is the type of player we need to be looking at for sure. Where did you see the link to us?" Just type it in, mate, online. It comes up. Apparently Dortmund are interested too, and obviously you'll see everybody's talking about it as well. So there's obviously a fair few rumours around him. Yes to Kalimuendo, but I feel if Newcastle come in, then we have no chance. Hey James, how's it going, buddy? Kalimuendo and Gessan, yeah, not bad. Love Kalimuendo on Football Manager. James says Arnau is a decent player. I think he's going to take a step ahead of us. Hoping I'm wrong, and he's an option. Yeah, it's very Rafinha, isn't it, this one? And once again, similar club. But yeah, you kind of look at Rafinha when, and we didn't know a lot about him, but you kind of had a little digging of his numbers in France, and you thought to yourself, why is he coming to Leeds at the age he's at, with the level that he's shown? Why is he coming to a newly promoted side? So you just wonder what pull Leeds have. Are we going to be doing something where we potentially invest a little bit more in the wage structure as well this season? Who knows? And spend maybe a little bit less on the transfer budget if we can get some good value. Because obviously, when you have a budget, you can put half and half with wage structure and transfer budget, but you can also go the other way. So you might have 70% into a transfer budget and 30% into a wage budget, or it might work the other way, which means that basically you can spend less on transfer deals and more on a wage structure. That might be something that'll attract Kalimuendo as well. So, this is Rafinha. Weren't we linked with Kalimuendo? We have been for a while, mate. Unbelievable player, says Charles. Yeah, we've been linked with him for a long time now. A long time. Chris is happy. This is good, Chris. I'm happy you're happy, mate. Yes. This is the level we should be looking at. 22 million is an absolute bargain. Only half of season, so need to get only half of season players. So need to get players that's good value. So no of the top players. Would you get Burrows? But Burrows. Would you get Clive? Let me know again, mate. I'm not sure what you mean by that, pal. Darton says, I really don't want to read the words hijack this summer unless it's doing it to us 100%, mate. Paul, one of the old ones. Wow. Why? Callie doesn't help us with our set piece threat. Interesting, Michael. Not for me. Yeah, I think I've mentioned this several times, mate, and people get really upset. The profile, I've reached for the stars when it comes to Jonathan Burkhart at Mines. I don't think we're going to do that, of course. But Kalimuendo is once again reaching for the stars. But I agree with you in terms of a set piece threat. And what's going to help with Leeds this year? We've got to help. We're going to have the ball on the floor. Are we going to be able to dictate play where we're turning teams around? Or do you need a player like one Yi? How do you say his name at Forest? Taiwu. I'll say honestly, his is the name that I cannot get right. Taiwu. That's what we'll call him. Or do you need to play like Taiwu? Do you need to play like Mitrovic? Mitrovic came up with Fulham, scored 14 goals. Taiwu came up for Forest, scored 10, 11 goals. They are a specific profile of player. Of which gets these teams who maybe aren't going to dominate possession up the pitch, gets the technical players winning the second balls in and around the big man, and you're hoping that the big man actually as well is able to do, extra bits and bats as well when it comes to shot efficiency, finishing, i.e. Mateta, but Mateta the players in and around Mateta like Eze, etc., thrive because of Mateta as well. So that, once again, Lucas, that profile of player has to be really, really, really considered by the team that you're going to put out onto the field. You cannot just go out and get superstars. This is why, guys, at the start, and I was getting a lot of, you don't know ball, which is fine, but I was getting a lot of hammerings for talking about Beto, but that style of player for the right fee is a type of player that Leeds United need this season. You have to get a player like that up front. You have to do. You can dot technical, beautiful players in and around that player, but getting Leeds up the pitch, winning flick-ons when it comes to set pieces, scoring from set pieces. As I've mentioned several times, 3 of the promoted teams were in the bottom 5 when it came to set piece goals, which is tragic this season. You have to be getting these additional margins. These margins where you're going to stay in the Premier League are so important. So important. This is why I've done a video on the second channel applying context to the teams that came up. There's so many things that went wrong, especially they've gone wrong in the past 2 years when it's come to the 6 promoted sides that have gone straight back down. So have a look at that if you're interested as well. So yeah, it's really important. Really, really important. You say it, Avoni. Right, okay, fair enough. Avoni. Screams ready for counter-attacking football. Our wingers like James do the running in behind. I think I prefer a hold-up player. Knox, it's not just a hold-up player as in like a real basic footballer who can't do anything else, but it's a player who can really aid us, massively aid us, when we're in trouble, when we're getting pressed by a Newcastle, alleviating that press, being able to go over and beyond the press, hit the big man, get Leeds up the pitch. But the big man has to have technical efficiency as well. He has to be able to, score goals, because that's what we need. That's what you're going to need to stay up. The fantastic way of which Liam Delap is once again that style of player, but also has the ability to be able to turn games with a strike at goal, with his ridiculous power when it comes to it. So these are really important. You can't really have, I don't think anymore. I don't think there's really that many examples, especially at mid-bracket to low-bracket teams. I don't think there's many examples of small, diminutive strikers. You're Aguero-esque, but obviously he was on a different level. He was playing for a team of which, could supplement that with how physical and athletic they were overall. But I don't think there's many small strikers now who play week in, week out in the Premier League. I don't think that happens because the league is just such a combative, ruthless league. So yeah, I think there's a lot when it comes to that. To be honest with you, that's why I like Promise David. Yeah, Dan, and it's not just with Promise David in terms of his height, obviously 6'5", but Promise David, obviously the Canadian striker, is an absolute monster, and he's a bit of a speed merchant as well. And he's once again, shot efficiency, goals is big as well. Will Everton get rid of both DCL and Beto? Well, apparently, mate, they're after 2 strikers, so that would instigate that they are. 6 darts. Danny says, whomever we bring in needs to fit the team in terms of personality, not just skill. The camaraderie at Leeds on with the fans. Yeah, I think that's Smart comment that, Danny. Really smart comment, mate. I don't think we focus on that enough. So, yeah, I like that a lot, pal. Uncle Tony Pony says, we're going to be playing a lot of more low blocks, being happy out of possession and using rapid counters this year. We need players who fit that style. Fast wing back. Yeah. Once again, I think it's important to notice that as well. Yeah, definitely. Kirsch says, there isn't many strikers in the Premier League hitting 15 goals, so hard to find. You look at the championship as well. Lads and lasses who are in here today, it's been woeful. When you're looking at these top scorers in the championship, you know, there was a lot of criticism laid at Peru this year by people like me when it comes to his consistency and his momentum, and certain phase of play and certain games of which he just wasn't involved in. He's top scorer in the division. He's done wonderfully well. But there's not been that much competition, has there? And that kind of is backed up and evidenced by the fact that Josh Brownhill was second top scorer in the division on 18. You just don't get that. So there's that many finishers in the championship this year as well. It's been quite bleak when it's come to that. And yes, similarly to the Prem, of course. Tom says, Haim is a no-brainer. Good evening, mate. Hi, mate. Prasoon says, will he be happy with Leeds? Yes. It'll be like winning the league, mate. It will be like winning the league. So yeah, 100%. Sorry, guys, just responding. Okay. Get your thoughts in. How many do you think we need for the starting 11, Connor? The starting 11? Well, I'll tell you what, that's a really good point, mate. And what we'll do is we'll bring up a bit of a custom lineup now. So just to answer your question, Evan, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Let's say if this is what we're looking at when it comes to rumours, and I've just put my goalkeeper in there as well. David Soria, who I think we should be looking at. But that's a goalkeeper. It's just an example. It's just filling in the blanks. You guys might have, different players there, which is fine. Jacob Bijol, who obviously Leeds have been rumoured with the Udinese centre-back. If he's just slot in there, if, Pascal's to be on the bench or Pascal's to be out the side. Josh Doig is someone who I've mentioned several times as a left-back, a standard left-back who I think would be able to transition into the Premier League, or whoever you guys want, Lucanets. I know there's a lot of other considerations that you guys have thought. Ampadu and Tanaka. Now, there was a consideration that maybe Tanaka's not got the legs and physicality to be able to move around in the Premier League. Could he be supplemented by someone like a Vinny Souza? Would Vinny Souza be an improvement on Ethan Ampadu? What do you guys think in the Premier League? I don't know. I do love Ethan, but having legs in the Premier League to be able to compete, would you go to a midfield 3 at points? The matchup teams like Newcastle have 3 in the midfield. Conversations there to be had, of course. So I understand that midfield maybe been a bit of consideration. Nonto being wide right, I don't think this will happen. So you can maybe have Dan James out there and maybe Nonto on the left or Ramazani on the left currently. And then obviously you could have Gus Hamer, you could have Buendia in there. And obviously I've got Kalimuendo up top there, or you could have a Beto or a player of that ilk. So I guess you're kind of looking at the blueprint of the side there when it comes to, I don't want Nonto on the right, but I've just put him out there because I'm not sure I see James as a starter in the Prem. You guys might shoot me down for that. The context behind that is, I think, obviously the Championship and the Premier League, 2 different leagues. We know Dan's improved, but it hasn't quite worked from a Premier League level for 3 separate clubs now. So I think there's a conversation there to be had in terms of, does he start, does he not start? That's why I didn't want to focus on the left too much, because I think Nonto and Ramazani can play on the left. But I'd rather us focus on that central attacking midfield and the right-hand side. That's what I'd rather us focus on. So that's why I've kind of put Nonto out there, just for a little bit of context. But I don't think he'll be out there. But I'd rather, if I'm honest with you, I think I'd rather start Nonto in the Premier League than Dan James. That's my opinion. I can be wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times before. So, but that's kind of a look at it, really, when it comes to what we need to do, in my opinion, once again. Connor, is it worth keeping Aronson for the bench? Late game pressing, at what price point would we seek for him? Well, yeah, it's a tough one when it comes to him. We've got to look at the book value again. We looked at the book value when it came to Jack Harrison yesterday. Obviously, amortization has been spread out for 7 years with Jack Harrison at the club after we signed him in July 2021, which effectively means Leeds are making a bit of a loss every single year, but his book value now is around 2.53 million quid, which I mentioned yesterday. If Leeds are to sell him for 10 million quid, that yields 7 million quid against PSR. So you've got to kind of look at that when it comes to Brendan Aronson as well, and what we would need to yield to go against PSR. So it might be a case of just keeping Brendan for the bench. We might not have a choice, to be honest with you. So Uncle says, defo a conversation on James being a good fit for Premier League. But if we're looking for pace on the wings, long ball receiver, he fits that profile. But agree, Nonto links really well. Yeah, and look, when you're looking at Dan James as well, what an option he is off the bench. Once again, I think Peru's a good option off the bench. You know, when teams are tiring a little bit, they won't tire. They won't tire like they would have done in the Championship. But there's a conversation there, of course. But James is an option, potentially. Peru is an option. I don't think he's bad at Premier League level. Okay, everybody, look, it's nearly kickoff time on the 1st. This is on the 1st where, you know, the transfer window kicks off officially, and I'm sure there are going to be massive proper links, not just that these aren't links, but they're just rumors right now. I'm sure there's going to be, Leeds have mentioned that they're going to do business very, very early as well. So you would expect Leeds to be moving very, very swiftly. So hopefully it's more of the consolidation mill and the confirmation mill instead of the room mill. But thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Before you leave, please slap a like on the video. Really appreciate all of your support on the room mill and just general videos as well. And if you want to listen to this, if you're out walking the dog or if you're out doing other bits, we will have this uploaded to Apple and Spotify. The link for the Spotify is in the description below if you fancy doing that. I'm going to head off. I'm going to upload that to Spotify and Apple for you guys, or Deezer, or wherever you listen to your audio platforms. I'll put the timestamps in here for you as well, because I understand these can be long. So if you guys aren't really interested in the discussion, debate, discourse, you can just head straight to the rooms, and I'll put the timestamps in the link below. Guys, if you want to check out the second channel, just like to say a big thank you. I've just hit 5,000 subscribers over there. Thanks so much. We do make general content over there if you're interested in that. We're going to be bringing out a few bits and bats on there in the near future as well. I think I'm going to record a video today for that one as well. So head on over there if you're interested in that. If you're not interested in that, absolutely no problem. All the best. Have a good one. Have a good day. Hope you're happy, smiling, and keeping healthy. And I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.